So how did you get to be where you are in the MFS, and what was your career path?
Well, I started off, I joined the Army as a apprentice motor mechanic back in 1977 when I was 16. During that time I sort of realised that maybe I don't want to be a mechanic for the rest of my life, and started looking around at what other occupations I could do.
Yep.
And spoke to people about the fire service and working with the community, and thought that was going to be a good idea. So that was the direction I went, and was fortunate enough when I was 32 to get accepted by the Metropolitan Fire Service. And 27 years later, I'm still really enjoying the career that I picked.
That's excellent. So what kept you passionate through those years about the South Australian community?
Yeah, I think for me, in such a long career, it's quite diverse. The fire service don't just go to fires and don't just attend accidents and rescues. We spend a lot of time educating South Australians how to make their home safer, to be more vigilant. What can cause a fire, and safer road practices. Things like our road awareness program and our community engagement programs that we always run. So having involvement with that has always been good for me, and knowing that you're actually making a difference for the community.
What's the best way for South Australians to stay safe during summer?
I think through summer there's a couple of things that we really need to sort of think about. I think we drag the barbecue out for those Sunday afternoon barbecues, and we haven't used it in probably 6 or 8 months, and it's been sitting in the weather, and just take the 5 minutes to have a look, make sure the gas is okay, the connections and hoses are fine, and it's been cleaned, and so that we don't have that unexpected flare up from the barbecue, which potentially could damage our house. The other sort of impact that we have, particularly with house fires, can be air conditioning. Once again, it really comes down to probably maintenance, to make sure that you get the service technician out pre-season, just to make sure that the air conditioner is operating correctly and it's been serviced, and all those types of things.
So they're the main things to keep your house safe in a maintenance sort of way. What are the other ways of making sure your house is safe?
I think probably the most important message I'd really like for people to take on board is to ensure that they've got working smoke alarms in their houses. Okay. The stats are you're 4 times likely to die in a house fire if you don't have a smoke alarm. Okay. Which is quite, sobering sort of thought. And the fact is that, make sure you are up with the legislation, because you do lose your sense of smell when you're asleep, which a lot of people aren't aware of. So, really from 95 onwards, there's been some changes in the legislation, and it's just good to check to make sure that your house complies with those.
Yeah. And what would your message to South Australians be during the holiday season on the roads?
On the roads, it's obviously it's a great time, because we get to go away and we do a lot of long distance driving, which is something we're not really used to. And once again, make sure the car's serviced. That it's going to get you there. It's not going to let you down while you're on that trip. And every couple of hours, just take a break, to avoid any fatigue. Swap drivers or have a spell, have a coffee. That extra 30 minutes is not really going to make a massive difference, at the end of the day on when you get there.
So talking about driving holidays, what's your favourite South Australian destination?
I think for me, Mark, there's many, but I've always enjoyed going up the river, with the water sports. It's always fun, and it's a great place to cool down on our hot days that we get.
Do you get to drive the big trucks?
Probably not so much now, Mark. It's a young man's sport for me. I certainly did enjoy it in my time. I spent most of my time operationally out at Elizabeth Station.
Always wanted to drive a big fire truck.
Yeah, I think it's the passion of a lot of people, and it's a nice thing. You always get a lot of hot waves and things like that, particularly from the kids when you're driving around, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. Well, thanks, Phil, for coming for a ride in the front seat with the RAA. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Mark. Enjoyed it. It was great. Thank you.
See you, mate.